the perfect grazing table. What makes it visually stunning? Because we were supposed to have a grazing table at this party, and they basically created a cheese plate. And I was like, that is not a grazing table. I
That's
was
not a
thinking like
grazing table.
a grazing table. So,
Yeah, we've done so many of them. I love it. I think the biggest tip is piling it up high, all of
mm,
it, right? I love this idea of overflowing, really filling it up. So, we roll out butcher block paper on a kitchen island, for instance. I would almost not use the entire island if you don't have enough food to fill, the whole island. Start in the middle, build it from the middle, and build it big, big and
mhm.
overflowing, right? That's my big tip.
Welcome to Her Unshakeable Confidence with dynamic mother-daughter duo Simone and Olivia Knego, where they discuss the secrets of transformation and how to build bold confidence and unwavering resilience. From intimate conversations with inspiring guests to sharing their personal journeys of triumph and challenge, Simone and Olivia create a supportive space where every woman is encouraged to rise above her fears and love the woman in the mirror. Tune into Her Unshakable Confidence and join this special journey of connection and growth. It's like catching up with old friends who inspire you to be bravely and uniquely you.
Welcome to this week's episode of Her Unshakable Confidence. I'm Simone Knego.
And I'm Olivia Knego.
And today we have like such a different episode that I am so excited about because we're talking grilling, we're talking charcuterie boards. Okay, this is fun. I'm hungry already.
Good.
So let me give you a
Super
little bit of
fun.
background. So she started Babs Boards over 3 years ago following a 25-year career in corporate world. She's always enjoyed entertaining friends and family for dinner parties, so this was an easy transition. Expanding from preparing charcuterie boards, Babs has taught over 150 charcuterie and girls who grills classes. Girls who grill classes. See, I messed it up. Some of her highlights include several TV segments, mentoring 6 amazing interns, teaching a charcuterie class at Wrigley Field, which sounds amazing, and preparing over 100 grazing tables. So I want to, and then you recently launched Babs Bashes. So I want to dive into all of this, but we're going to start with one question related to what we're doing right now. So let's talk about confidence for a second. So what does confidence mean to you?
Confidence means to me definitely not being obnoxious or overly, aggressive, right? With your confidence. It's just being able to embrace the unexpected, jump in feet first. Completely what I did with starting a brand new business. I mean, like you said, I was in accounting and finance for 25 years. I really have no idea when I started this how to be an entrepreneur. Or teach classes, right? That was not my background. I didn't go to school for it. So confidence to me really means taking the leap, jumping in, and knowing that you don't know all the answers, but that's okay. You could figure it out, right? If you need to.
And I think it's so important because if you look at statistics, there's one statistic out there that says that women will only apply for jobs when they meet 100% of the qualifications. Guess what, ladies? You are then overqualified, right?
Hmm.
If
Right,
you're
right.
overqualified. So take that risk, right? Take a jump, do something different, and don't worry about what it says on paper. That just, if it's something you want to do, go for it.
Right. I fully believe that. And I met with somebody who was looking to start their own business, and they were asking me a lot of questions and what if scenarios. And they were really trying to plan out every
Mm,
potential situation and outcome before they launched the business. And if I had done that, I never would have launched,
right.
right? I never would have started to begin with. You cannot come up with every single scenario that you're going to be thrown upon. And did I think 3.5 years later I'd be teaching grilling classes?
Hmm.
No, I had no idea, right? So if I had planned it all out, and as an accountant, I'm a planner by nature, right? Definitely type A and organized and all of those things. But sometimes you just have to take a leap of faith and jump in. And to me, that's what confidence is about. In the back of my head the whole time starting this business was, what do I have to lose? I have
Mm-hmm.
nothing to lose,
Yep.
right? If it doesn't work, and trust me, not everything did in the last 3.5 years, for sure. I hit some stumbling blocks or things that I had to pivot from. But what did I have to lose? Nothing.
I think a big thing that when we talk to ourselves and when we ask ourselves questions, it shouldn't be, what if I fail? It should be, what if I succeed? Right? Not,
Yeah,
oh, I don't think I can. Yes, you can do this, right? I mean, it's
right.
it's it's really
It's the
kind of,
way you frame the question, right?
yeah, absolutely. So, okay, let's talk about what inspired you to leap
Yeah,
into entrepreneurship after 25 years in corporate. And honestly, my
right.
background is I went to school for accounting. I have a
Oh, me too.
bachelor's and master's in accounting. I was a CPA. Didn't last long. It was not what I wanted to do. So,
Yeah. Well,
um,
same. CPA. It did last long, 25 years, but I retired, quote unquote. And then I went, I had a great summer off of a lot of fun. And I ended up going to visit a friend of mine, um, who really inspired me to do this. I met with her for a weekend with my whole family. And actually, it was nice. Our daughters are about the same age. They're in college now, and they were part of the conversation too, which I think was really neat
Mm.
for them to hear from the inception. Her daughter actually drew my logo,
oh,
which I
that's
think
cool.
is
That's really
really
cool.
cool, right? But she was the one who inspired me. I didn't want to do accounting and finance work. I wanted to do something. I just really didn't know what. And she said, well, you entertain all the time. You host dinner parties. They were recipients over the years of many of them. And she said, you should do this as a business. This charcuterie thing is huge. Why don't you go back and do this as a business? So over the course of the weekend, with a lot of wine, and I'm sure we had some cheese and meat too, I said, you know what? I think I'm really going to give this a shot. I'm going to go back. And my husband had no idea that these conversations were happening over that weekend, which was hilarious. And I went back on Monday and told him, I'm going to start a charcuterie business. He looked at me like I was absolutely crazy. But I mean, that's literally how I
Hmm.
started, right? And that, I mean, that took some confidence too,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. I mean, when I wrote my first book, and that was I was writing it. I started it in 2019 and finished in 2020. Great timing. But I said to my husband, so I think I'm going to write a book. And he said, I can't wait to read it. You went to school for accounting. It's
Yeah, that's
like,
kind of similar story in my house too.
yeah. But I'm like, I'm not limiting myself anymore, right? I mean, we limit ourselves
Right.
too much. We think that we can only have this one path, and it's so not
Hmm.
true. And
Right.
when you try something different, you might find something that you absolutely love, and you can still make money doing it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, talk about a massive pivot from accounting and finance to charcuterie. But then I found something that I didn't know that I absolutely loved, and that's teaching. So I started off by teaching, like you mentioned, charcuterie classes, which I still do and I love. And then that has turned into Girls Who Grill, which I love, empowering women to man the grill, quote
Mm.
unquote, right? It doesn't have to be the men in our lives that are grilling. It could be us too. So I love that. And I didn't even know. I was an accountant, right? I didn't know that how much I love teaching. So it's really funny. My mom is a retired teacher, and she takes full credit, right, for me
Yeah.
and my love for teaching. And now my daughter is going into education. She's a freshman at the Ohio State University, and she's going to be a teacher too. Not of charcuterie or grilling, but elementary school probably. But that's been really fun. It must run in our genes. But I found this passion that I didn't even know that I had. If I hadn't, took that risk and started this business, I never would have been down this path, right?
Liv, I can kind of see this with you because first of all, you love making charcuterie boards.
Very true.
She is the person when she's in town, we're like, make it gigantic.
Good.
And it's always like beautiful. And I'm trying to get better, but like when I've done it, I put some
You
meat and
just
cheese on a
you
plate.
don't like to cook though.
Well,
I
you have to
do.
take one of my classes then, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think
Well,
so.
no, I want to elaborate on she doesn't like to cook in the way she doesn't see the beauty in the cooking when the food gets eaten so fast.
Ah, okay. I
You're
get
right. You're right. So
it.
I'm glad that she sees it because every time she comes home, she can cook. I mean, that's
And
totally
that
fine.
is what I do. Like if I'm having a stressful day, I'm going to bake something. I'm going to cook dinner. I'm going to
Oh,
just sit there and chop vegetables because it's like the biggest stress relief for me.
right. Yeah. No, I love it. And for me, it's more, that's my love language. I
Yeah.
love having people into my home. That's, I don't give gifts to my friends. My gift is giving them a night away from cooking and putting a beautiful dinner in front of them. That's my love language
I
for sure.
completely agree with that. Actually, so one of my friends that I've made in law school, it's been really fun to become friends with her because she is really horrible at accepting gifts, according to her. But every gift I give her is in the form of a baked good. So every
Uh,
time I'm like, I get the best reaction to it. And I was like, you're not bad at like accepting gifts. What are you
she
talking about?
doesn't
She's
even
like,
know. I love it.
no, I loved your like that bakery
Oh,
goods don't count. But
I'm-
I love baking because of that as well. Like I love feeding other
oh,
people. I love to have
hmm.
people over. I can't wait until I actually have a bigger space. I said that when I was in New York. I can't wait to have a big space. And now I'm here and I want a bigger space.
Right.
But I think
Well,
entertaining is so, some people see it as so stressful. I see it as so fun.
no, I love that. I love, especially, from your generation to say that. I think that's awesome. I think there is a big movement moving back to the art of the dinner party, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's that connection. I think we lost it for a few years during the pandemic, that
Yeah.
connection, and we're realizing how important that was or is to our lives. And I think that's really why I love dinner parties. You could always go out to dinner to a restaurant, but the level of conversation is very different in a loud, crowded
Yeah.
restaurant with strangers
Exactly.
than having guests into your home. There's nothing like having a great dinner party. And not saying it has to be fancy at all, right? Some of my best and most fun dinner parties that I've had are not super fancy. So it's just about that connection with our friends.
Absolutely. I think it's the best way to get to know people as well and kind of curate the environment that you want to have. And just
Right.
like, I don't know. I can't wait to be at the adult phase of my life where you go out to friends to dinner. Like that's what you do. And like you go
Hmm.
and like, oh, let's go to so and so's place for dinner and not just
Right.
like let's go to the bars and hang out. Still
Yes.
unfortunately at
Yeah.
that part.
No.
Or the not going out. The law school has kind of prevented the going out aspect,
A little
period.
bit of studying
Yeah.
to do.
But I think that's just such a part of adulthood that I'm looking forward to.
I love that. And we've been now that we have college age kids in our group, when I'm hosting a dinner party, my new favorite thing is to include the college age kids
Mm-hmm.
at the table too. So before we used to have, when they were younger, a separate kids table. Now
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to include them in on the dinner party and the conversation. And it's been really fun. You learn a lot about your kids that way in that type of environment, and their friends, obviously. But that's great. You have a lot to look forward to. It's super fun.
I like the entertaining piece. It is, I don't know why I don't love cooking. I mean, my mom, she was a physician. She cooked every night dinner for us. And when the kids were younger, I did because I was cooking for 6 kids, right? I mean, it was literally like a massive amount of food. And I feel like now that there's only 2 kids home and one of them eats the same thing pretty much every night, that I don't know, it's not that same incentive, and I don't know why I don't like it. I like
Oh,
to eat it.
maybe more of a chore, before, right, than
Yeah, yeah.
enjoyment. But I learned a lot about entertaining from my parents. My mom, to be honest, isn't a great cook. She's a great baker. My dad is really the cook of my
Mm,
house,
Mm.
which growing up, and they were and still are the king and queen of
Oh
dinner
yeah.
parties. They
mm,
still entertain all the time. They're still telling me that they've had friends over for dinner and they share their menu and all the things. And they're super great they taught me really at a young age how to have fun at your own party.
mhm.
They're a great team. They know their strengths. They get everything they possibly can get done in advance before their friends walk in the door. They know their friends' drink orders, so when they when they
Wow.
arrive, they have that cocktail in hand. And they really taught me that it's really not all about the food and the fanciness of it all. And they fuss, but they get it all done in advance. It's more to them about the connection with their friends and having fun. And they really truly do have fun at their dinner parties, and their guests do too. I mean, if you've ever gone to a party where the host is all stressed out in the kitchen, I mean, you could feel that
Yeah.
as the
Mhm.
guest, right? And that's not fun at
Yeah.
all. So they really taught me that, which is great.
So I have two questions for you.
Yeah.
First one, would you describe yourself as an introvert or an extrovert?
Oh, I'm a massive extrovert.
Okay. Okay.
I don't think I have an introverted bone in my body.
Yes.
I
And
get
then,
my energy from being with
yeah,
people.
that makes sense. I mean, the
Hmm.
line of business for sure. Then how do you have fun at your own party? Because I feel like people don't. I mean, we just had a big party at the house for my brother's wedding. And afterwards, when I talked to my dad, he was like, "You seemed like everybody had fun, but I don't know. I feel like I didn't at all. Like I didn't talk to anybody."
I
Yeah.
feel like there's so much of it was obligation, and I like everybody there. Wasn't I shouldn't say it like that. It's not obligation, but you feel like you've got to talk to every single person, or you didn't do it right, which is not the way to look at it. It's impossible. We had
Right.
like 80 people there.
Yeah, that's hard.
You
That's
know.
hard. An 80-person party is definitely different than a dinner party,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But that's a tough. I mean, that's a wedding, like you said. But for me, the way I have fun is I'm not working super hard while people are there. There's a lot of prep work that goes
Mm-hmm.
into it, but my favorite compliment from friends when they come to my house for a dinner party, and I entertain all the time, like yeah, a lot. But my best compliment is, I didn't even realize you were cooking or doing anything. Like it was
Oh wow.
seamless. And that's such a compliment to me. Like they barely even recognized that I left the room for a couple minutes to do my last minute prep. That means I really had it all done in advance. So when they came in, I think that people are surprised that I pour myself a glass of wine with my guests and I sit down with them and
Mm.
talk. And I think people are blown away by that. Like, how can she be sitting here and talking? Isn't she supposed to be getting dinner ready? Right. So the way I've been able to do that over the years is I've figured out how to get it all done and just leave last minute things that they don't even notice when I've left the room. So that's really how I have a lot of fun. Sometimes, I'll be like an hour and a half in. Oh, I should probably warm that up and get dinner served. I'm having so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think it takes some practice, right? And confidence, obviously, to be able to do it. And again, you don't want to plan a menu that you've never done before for the first time when people come over. You want to plan something that you're confident in
Mm-hmm.
making. So something that you could almost do by heart. You've done it, so many times and you feel confident about it that it's great. And also it doesn't mean I love cooking, but for someone who doesn't, that doesn't mean you have to make everything homemade, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people just want to come to your house for a night off and they don't want to go to a crowded restaurant, right? So I
So
don't
true.
make everything from scratch. I for sure buy dessert sometimes, or I buy an appetizer, or I'm a big cook, and I don't make it all from scratch, right? Especially if I have a busy day going on with work or whatever. But yeah, it's more about planning in advance so you can have fun. Because remember, that's why you're doing this. You want to have fun,
Yeah. My
not
favorite.
an obligation.
Yeah. My favorite is I really love Thanksgiving. Like that will still always be. I like really insist that the kids come home. I don't
Mm.
know how long it will
Love
last with all their
it.
significant others, but that one I like to cook for, right? I really
That's a big
enjoy
one.
that.
I'm impressed. Like that's one that sometimes is the first time people are entertaining, and
Hmm.
that's why they're turned off to it. Because think about Thanksgiving, it's all about the food,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there are a lot of dishes going on, and turkeys can be overwhelming to some people, right? So that's impressive that you like. If you like cooking Thanksgiving, I think you like to entertain in general.
I love to entertain. I would say
Mhm.
that I and I actually don't mind cooking when it comes to entertaining. I think it's just like cooking on the regular basis that I'm like,
Got it.
kind of over
Yeah,
it. And
right. I get it.
but the entertaining part I like.
Yeah, I love Thanksgiving too. One of my favorite things about it is my mom has so many recipes from her mother, and there's just a lot of tradition involved. And so I'm still using, the stuffing recipe from my great grandmother. I'm still
Mm,
using, like I just think that's really neat, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure gonna pass that along to my kids too. So it is about cooking, but it's also about involving all the family members to help you. And it's just a lot of tradition, which I think is really neat. It's really the main, cooking related holiday that we have. Well, I guess 4th of July a little bit too, maybe, but
yeah, it definitely. I mean, the things that we've kind of gone a little rogue on stuff for Thanksgiving. We do oysters every year now.
I love it.
Um,
That's because you're in
we
the South and you could get some good
yeah,
seafood.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's yeah.
I'm jealous.
We typically do a charcuterie board. We did not do one this year. Just because I think we eat too much before, and then we're like, wait, okay, we're not
Yeah,
hungry for the actual meal.
right,
But
right.
it seems like no matter what, I always add something extra on. So this year, my middle son was like, I want mac and cheese. And I was like, my friend, it is like the day before, and now you're asking for it. And, but of course, I have to do it. So,
Yeah.
made my last
Aw,
minute store run and got it all done.
I
But yeah,
love it.
I really do like that. So I want to pivot a little bit and talk about the whole
Sure.
the grilling side because
Hmm.
I actually do like to grill. And
Good.
part of
Yes.
me likes to grill because the cleanup is less, which is kind of funny.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I really like that side of things better. So I'm curious what you do now with teaching people and what your favorite thing to grill is,
Oh,
honestly.
okay, those are good questions. Well, I love, like I said, I love teaching. I started
Hmm.
off with charcuterie and realized, oh my gosh, there's this big void in teaching. I've been grilling for a while, in my, before I started my business. So I thought, okay, why not, since I love teaching so much, take this show on the road and start teaching girls who grill, and to much success. I think it's really neat. It's a beginner grilling class where I'm really having only women in the room, although it has morphed into some couples and guys who grill too, but mostly women in the room, teaching everybody how to, the basics, how to turn on a grill, right? How to make this your outdoor kitchen and very approachable for everybody. Really, I love to teach that you could grill the entire meal outside,
Hmm.
right? So you don't have to run back in, turn on your oven inside to cook the potatoes. Cook the potatoes on the grill. Totally treat it like your outdoor kitchen. So we do an appetizer in my class. We usually do some like a grilled shrimp. We'll do grilled veggies and burrata. We'll do grilled chicken and steak and potatoes, and then we do a dessert on the grill too. So the
Ah,
entire
wow.
meal. So I love showing everybody at my class, anything that you would bake in your oven, you could put on the grill. So I will do Ghirardelli brownies, or my favorite brownie mix in a box. We will do that out on the
Wow.
grill in a cast iron skillet. I take Sara Lee pound cake and I slice it up. It's already cooked, obviously, and I will put it on the grill, quick flip on the grill with, some grilled. You could put a grilled peach half on the
Mm.
side with some ice cream or whipped cream. So the entire meal is on the grill is what I teach. And it's been a huge hit. I think I'm really onto something here. And
Yeah.
I hope to expand it even more, right? And I think what's so interesting is women learn it's not that hard. The
Mm,
secret's out, guys. Get out of
yeah.
the men's grill.
Because
We
it's
could
That's
really
do
funny.
this.
scary. Like I think grilling is really scary. I live in an apartment building and there's a really nice grill setup downstairs and
All
I
right, I'm
haven't
coming. When
used
can
it
I
at
come to
all.
teach you?
Literally, I have no clue how to do it at
I
all.
I need an excuse to come to Nashville, so I'm in.
Whenever.
That would be great. But no,
Yeah.
I'm really finding that people, women are taking the class and realizing, oh my gosh, I could do this at home. I have had some women say, well, but this is the only thing that my husband does. So why are you
That's
teaching me
okay.
this?
Fair.
Which is kind of funny. But so it's not that
That's
you have
funny.
to replace him. He could still help you out, obviously. But if he's not around, or,
It's
if he's out of
Father's Day.
town, it's Father's Day. That's a great idea, right? You could take it over and you know how to do it.
Where do you teach out of?
I've been teaching. There's a couple locations locally. I'm actually teaching at the Weber Grill Cooking School tomorrow
Oh,
Oh,
that's
night.
so
wow.
cool.
And then, yeah, and there's a couple other, like there's a backyard barbecue. It's a store, Forza Meats, which is a local butcher shop. So I go around to different locations. I'm teaching at a Ace Hardware. Yeah, and demonstrations are super fun. I just love sharing the knowledge and that empowering women that it's really something that you could do in your own home.
I think that's amazing. So I think one of the reasons that two of the reasons that Olivia finds it intimidating is because Her dad has had a couple of grilling accidents.
Wait, that is not at all why I found it intimidating.
Really?
I think
Oh.
I'm smarter than him. That would never happen to me.
Oh my gosh. Good thing he's not listening to our episodes right now because he'd be like, girl, stop talking about me.
I would not even know how to turn on the grill.
Oh.
That's why this class is perfect for you. I didn't either. I wasn't raised learning how. It was only my dad. My mom has
Yeah.
no idea, right? So I learned it myself out of need because my husband was traveling a lot for work and I really wanted some grilled chicken. And I thought, hey, this can't be hard, right? And I took classes. It was actually at a local seafood shop in Chicago. So I learned how to grill with seafood first, which I
Mm.
love seafood.
Mm-hmm.
And
Me
then
too.
kind of applied it to everything else. But that's why I think it's so important. I don't just start grilling in my class. I really talk about safety because of those accidents that you
Yeah.
mentioned. That I mean, that could happen if you don't know, the safety rules about grilling. And then also how to turn it on, right? I tell everybody in my class, I want you to go home and turn on your own grill. And if you cannot, you call me and I will make sure that you know how to turn it on, right? Super important for me. We all should be able to do that. So
Liv,
I'm coming,
I feel like
Olivia.
I've failed you a little bit that you
Your
don't
grill is confusing.
you push it in and you
Oh,
turn it.
I thought you had to turn the propane tank on or
Well,
something
you
like
do have to
that.
turn the
See, I
propane
wouldn't
tank
well,
know
on.
there's
that.
that. There's
Yeah,
that.
that's more complicated.
But most grills, if they're connected to gas, you have to turn on the propane tank. So
Right. We talked about that in my class, Olivia. I'm coming.
there we go.
Yeah, I
Good.
need it.
I think she does. I think she does. So
Perfect.
then beyond the grilling part, which that might be, well, I love charcuterie boards too, so I think it's all amazing. So what's the new
Thanks.
Babs Bashes?
Yeah, Babs Bashes has just started because I'm teaching these classes. I'm realizing people have some of the same questions that you guys have about entertaining, right? And they're wondering, all right, I do want to host a dinner party, but I'm super intimidated how to do that. So, how can you spend some time with me to figure out specifically? I love doing one-on-one, almost consulting,
Hmm.
right? About sharing all of my tips and tricks and like walking through the run a show how your dinner party is going to work. Let's talk about your menu, let's talk about your theme, let's talk about how you're going to set up the tablescape, let's talk about all of your menu items and pots and pans and everything that you need. Let's talk about the timing. What are you going to do in advance? Everything is the answer. You're going to do everything
Yeah.
in advance, right? That's the key. How are you going to serve the cocktails? All of those questions that people have if they've never done it before. I used to just think that, that just comes naturally to me because that's how I was raised with family that entertained all the time. So a lot of it I learned just from growing up. But a lot of it I've learned from having a ton of dinner parties over the last 20. I've been married 26 years and I've had a lot of dinner parties over those years. So I've learned a lot and I've gone to some and some have been amazing. And some dinner parties I've had, not everything's perfect. So I love sharing all of that advice with everybody. And I really love I love teaching. I want people to entertain in their own homes. And if that means they're making charcuterie or they're learning how to grill or they just need the steps of coming up with the menu, like I think that's really what Babs is all about. And I think we're going to be rebranding and instead of Babs Boards, rebranding as Babs Entertains
Mm.
because we have all of
Hmm.
this underneath us. So it's kind of fun. Very
What do you
fun.
what do you
Way
think?
more fun than accounting, I have to say.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
agree. I would
probably.
agree with that. What is if you were if someone was to ask you like what is the optimal number of people that you would prefer to have at a dinner party? What would you say?
It's a good question, and it might surprise you. So, I think most people who are new to entertaining would just invite one other couple over, so a party of four. To me, I like to have, if you're brand new to entertaining, I would like you to invite two couples, so having six people over. And I think that throws people for a loop sometimes. But if you think about how a dinner party works, at least, usually in our house, it's the guys are talking before, during cocktail hour, and then the girls are talking. So if there's only four of you, that means one woman is talking to me in the kitchen.
Mm.
If I am not super confident in my hosting abilities,
Mhm.
that is a little stressful because I'm trying to get everything, all the last minute things done. Although I've done 98% of it ahead of time, there's still going to be, a little bit left to do at the last second. So if it's just one woman talking to me, that's a little stressful and distracting. So in fact, I love having two women are off on their own if you invite two other couples, and then that's when I like quickly leave.
Mm.
They're still talking, and they usually 9 times out of 10 don't even notice I've left the room. I'm going to do that last 2% of my work, and they don't even notice I'm gone. So in fact, I like having a dinner party of six.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people
So,
don't think through that, but it
yeah,
really works
I think everything you do when you have a dinner party, you have to think through, right? I mean, it
for
just
sure.
makes a lot of sense that I think that's
Even
part of, sorry,
yeah,
it's
I was
part of
just
my
gonna
issue is that
say, yeah.
I just, I have it planned, but I don't have it all ready ahead of time, right? So,
Hmm. Well,
and,
even the seating, I love talking to my clients about the seating at a dinner table for a dinner party. And a lot of them say, well, why is that important? And I say that I think that's probably the most important thing
mm,
about your dinner party is how you seat the people around a dining
Mm.
room table. Do you guys know the show Curb Your Enthusiasm?
mm-hmm,
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's hysterical. So they have this episode, you're going to have to watch it after this, called The Middler. And they talk about the concept of the middler
mm,
and how important that is to a dinner party. And what it means, really quickly, is you have the 1 to 2 people, and everybody has it in their group of friends, and you want to make sure you invite them to your dinner party. They're the 2 people that are the massive extroverts that include everybody in on the conversation during the dinner party, right? And it is imperative that you seat those 2 people in the middle because they're
Mm.
going to include everybody back to the conversation. And it makes or breaks a dinner party every single time. It is unbelievable. And you don't want to you don't want to seat husband and wives next to each other because they're going to talk about logistics of their kids. That's not fun for your dinner party, right?
right,
You want to definitely
yeah,
split up the couples. You don't want to put the 2 best friends together because they're going to be sharing all their fun inside jokes, right? You don't want that. You want conversation to be with the entire table. So it is super important that you plan out. I'm a huge proponent of having place cards and seating arrangements. And now everybody at my house knows that I do this middler concept. So they know when they get seated in the middle that they're the
Oh,
middler.
that's so
no
funny.
pressure.
No
Yep.
pressure, no pressure. And of course, a lot of times it's me, right? Because like I
Yeah.
said, I'm that massive extrovert, but it's really important. And it really makes or breaks, conversation's key to a dinner party. So it makes or breaks it.
Yeah, I was recently actually just out to dinner with a group of women in a private room, and one of the women who was in the middle, she was not talking to anybody because that it was like the way the seating was, it was kind of 5 people on one side, so she was right in the middle, and she is not the extrovert, so it was kind of like, oh my gosh, we have to keep talking because
Mm-hmm.
she's just sitting there, and I feel horrible, and
Aw.
but it's all those things that you do have to think about. So I
Yep.
like the
Yeah.
concept of
I
the
love a
middler.
round table. I have a round table in my kitchen. So sometimes I have a dinner party in my kitchen. But I have a rectangular table in my dining room. But that's where the concept of the middler is huge for sure. A round table is a little bit different. Everyone's the middler. But
I have to ask about Wrigley Field because
yeah.
I mentioned it, so I got to know about it. So
Yeah, I
tell
love
me.
it. Yeah, so I was lucky. They have this outside space called Gallagher Way, right outside of the marquee. And it's actually on non-game days. They do a lot of activities outside of Wrigley. So the last 3 summers, I guess it's been now, I did one full-blown charcuterie class outside of Wrigley, which was amazing. I mean, it was a pinch me moment to be teaching outside of this iconic stadium, right,
Hmm.
that we go to all the time in Chicago. And then maybe 2 or 3 other times I've done demonstrations there, all charcuterie related. I'm hoping this summer to get down there and do a Girls Who Grill segment. I think it would be fun. But I mean, talk about, there's been so many pinch me moments throughout, starting this business, but that for sure was a big one. Here I am at Wrigley. Oh my gosh.
This is gonna sound insane, but you should go on Good Morning America. Like I
I
know
would
that's like a
love
crazy like
to.
thing to say, but like I worked at NBC last summer. You're exactly the kind of guest that they would want on Good Morning
Oh,
America.
well, connect me. I would love to. I've been on TV, I don't know, a dozen times now, probably. I'll be on again Friday morning,
Oh, so
all
fun.
Chicago. Um, and I love it. If I if I could have like a weekly talk show, I would, or a Food Network or something, that would be amazing. Um, Again, something else I did not know. I was in accounting. Why was I in accounting? I don't know. But I was in accounting. I had no idea I loved a microphone, but give me a microphone any day and I'm
Mm-hmm.
totally in. So that's not a
And
crazy dream. Maybe you never
no,
know,
it's
right?
not a crazy dream. Just got to keep saying it until it happens,
Yep,
right?
I love it. Confidence.
Say it until you become it. So, yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. Um, okay, last question before, because I just want to ask this question too, because,
Oh, wow. Okay.
oh, no, but I'm not asking that
No,
question.
I know.
Okay. So,